In some cases, when inspecting an air conditioner, we encounter a confusing situation. The display starts showing different error codes that change constantly. For example, it might first display F1, then E1, then E2, and so on. These codes are intermittent. They do not remain stable, and in some cases, they disappear completely when the unit is turned off and on again. When this happens, we are not facing isolated individual failures, but rather a deeper problem. Let's now explore the main causes of this issue. One of the most common causes is a failure in the main electronic board, also known as the control board. This board contains the microcontroller and EEPROM memory responsible for interpreting all system signals. If any of these components are damaged or have programming errors, it is common for the system to display false or random codes, even if there is no real failure. Another common cause is unstable power supply. If the unit receives irregular voltage, experiences power surges, or lacks proper grounding, it can behave erratically. In such situations, the air conditioner may restart on its own, stop for no apparent reason, or begin reporting errors that change constantly. It is also important to consider false contacts. A loose wire, a weak connection, or a connector with moisture can momentarily interrupt the signal between sensors and the control board. This causes erratic readings, which are interpreted as different faults, changing the error code every time the signal is affected. Intermittent failures can be caused by degraded electronic components, cold solder joints, or micro cracks that only appear under certain conditions, such as prolonged heating of the unit. This means the error could appear after the system runs for a while, and disappear once the unit cools down. In inverter systems, a critical point is the communication between the indoor and outdoor units. If the communication cable is damaged, poorly connected, or affected by interference, the information becomes corrupted, and the system may show errors like E1, E6, HA, or even different codes each time it restarts. Temperature sensors can also cause this behavior if they are faulty. A damaged sensor, or one with unstable resistance, can constantly vary its readings. This leads the system to interpret different faults depending on the moment it takes the measurement. Capacitor degradation is another common cause of intermittent failures. A capacitor that has lost part of its capacity may work under light loads or ideal conditions, but will fail intermittently under high load, high temperatures, or voltage fluctuations. The EEPROM memory in an air conditioner stores essential system parameters such as settings, operating times, and sensor data. Its job is to retain that information even when the unit is powered off. When the EEPROM becomes corrupted due to voltage spikes or electronic faults, the controller may misinterpret signals and begin to display intermittent or incorrect error codes, even if no real component is faulty. Compressor problems such as short cycling or hard starting are inherently intermittent and are a direct cause of variable error codes. If the compressor has an emerging mechanical issue or an electrical problem that only appears under certain load or temperature conditions, it will attempt to start, fail, register an error, and then possibly succeed on the next attempt, creating the intermittent pattern. Another less common, but equally important cause is defective or corrupted firmware. Some modern units allow software updates. If an update fails or the memory is corrupted, the unit can enter an unstable state, displaying multiple error codes with no clear cause. So how can you tell if it's a real fault or just erratic behavior caused by a deeper issue? The key is to observe whether the error code is persistent or not. If the error repeats every time the unit is turned on, it likely indicates a damaged component. But if the error changes each time or disappears temporarily, we are likely facing an electronic, electrical, or communication issue. To diagnose the problem correctly, follow these steps. 1. Turn the unit off completely and unplug it for at least 5 minutes. 2. Check that the power supply voltage is stable and that proper grounding is present. If voltage is unstable, consider using a voltage stabilizer. 3. Inspect all temperature sensors and measure their resistance in kiloohms using a multimeter. To do this, disconnect each sensor. The reading should never be 0 or infinite. Compare the resistance value to the reference table in the manual. 4. Thoroughly inspect all connectors and wires. Look for loose terminals, corrosion, or damage. 5. Note the order in which the error codes appear, and check if they change when moving the wires or restarting the system. If the errors change constantly, the most likely cause is a faulty control board, communication interruption, or unstable sensor. In summary, when error codes change intermittently, we are not dealing with many small issues, but rather one larger problem affecting the system's logic. It may be electronic, electrical, or wiring related, and must be diagnosed carefully to avoid replacing components unnecessarily.